What's up everyone, John from ARTV. It's time for a review of the third studio album by Mumford Sons, a rock outfit that have put out several very successful albums over the years, all over the world. They've gained fame, and their last album, Babel, I believe, sold over 600,000 copies the first week in the US, so they kind of caught fire for a while there. Had hits like The Cave, Little Lion Man, and of course, the dreadfully overplayed I Will Wait, which I will probably break something if I hear again. Now, not to discredit either of those albums in full, it's just that my love for them has kind of faded over time as I've grown to expect, I guess, more from my folk music and I guess what I get into. There are some really good songs on there, and on both albums that I keep coming back to. Winter Winds, of course, The Cave, and then of course on Babel we've got favorites like Broken Crown, which is probably still my favorite Mumford & Sons song to date. But this new album really sees them challenging themselves. They plugged in, they went electric, all guitars on this record instead of the banjos and that sort of thing. And you know what I think? Good for them. I am sick of hearing every article just focusing on the fact that they've plugged in and they've made the decision to bring in some electric guitars and go more in a rock direction, influenced by bands like Radiohead, U2, Coldplay. Everything that I read or see about Mumford & Sons' new album is just focusing on that. Why not talk about the music itself? Because that's what I'm here to do. If I sat here and did a side-by-side comparison, that wouldn't be a review at all. That'd be like me talking about me at age 16 versus me at age 21. They're two totally different things. Without a doubt, Wilder Mind is my favorite album by Mumford & Sons to date. All over this album you're going to find skillful guitar playing. Of course, it's not too far out there because Marcus Mumford obviously still penning the lyrics here, and it's in familiar territory. A lot of these songs like Snake Eyes and even the closing track on this record, Hot Gates, feel very similar to some of the stuff that they've crafted in the past, so it's not like they're totally alienating everyone with what they're talking about. They didn't go off the deep end and start shoving politics or something down your throat. There's still a lot of uplifting tracks here and ones that focus on relationships and like what went wrong as well, and I like that. Believe was the lead single that we got from this record, the first taste of Wilder Mind, and people were so conflicted on this track, but I'm absolutely loving it. I like that he's so conflicted on this song. He's kind of battling some personal demons. He doesn't know what to think anymore, and then the guitars kind of kick off in the second half of that track. It's just a really fun time to me. It's got a really memorable chorus, and I gotta say that not only on this track, but all throughout, they did a great job of crafting some hooks. I'm loving the energy that this album presents. There's a lot of more upbeat tracks that I was not necessarily expecting, like The Wolf, which is definitely a powerhouse. Snake Eyes is one that has kind of a build all throughout it and then just kind of explodes and takes off. And then of course the track right near the end of this record that I'm really loving, Only Love. Love the lyrical content on that one. It just seems like Mumford was kind of in a good place when he wrote that, but at the same time he's a little bit troubled. All throughout this record you're gonna hear truth being a big factor. It's something that is repeated several times. He talks about telling only one lie, but it might as well have been 1,000, and that's kind of something that I feel like influenced a lot of this record, the truth and just the effects of telling the truth or else being dishonest. Now, if you're longing for some more classic Mumford moments, then you're definitely going to enjoy slower tracks like Cold Arms. I'm loving the distant sounding guitar on that one. The tone is absolute perfection in my mind. Broad-Shouldered Beast is another one that kind of reminds me of some earlier Mumford & Sons work, and not necessarily in the best way. It's almost kind of like they're revisiting some of those ideas and then trying to add in some extra instrumentation, kind of rounding it out more like a rock band rather than a folk band. And while maybe that could work on some tracks, because I feel like they kind of do pull that off, but just because the lyrical content is so familiar on some of these tracks, I don't feel like Broad Shoulders is one that necessarily did so and succeeded. Hot Gates is another one that kind of left a bad taste in my mouth just because it closed out the record and it felt like it was like a slow-lit fuse. I thought it was going to be something like maybe Only Love or even Snake Eyes or Ditmas, and it was just kind of erupting in its latter half, but it never really paid off for me, and it kind of left the album on a rather slow note, and it just kind of fades out. And while I did kind of like the fade on the track, I can't say that as a whole I'm really digging that tune. I would have liked to have seen it go out on Only Love instead. Ditmas is probably the most memorable track on the record for me though. The chorus on this thing is just so well layered. I like the vocals that are kind of thrown in the background there as Mumford sings, "This is all I ever was," and it just kind of feels like an anthem almost. It's very powerful, and the guitar just kind of backs the whole thing. The bass groove on this track is definitely on point. Wilder Mind doesn't necessarily need an upbeat feel about it though to succeed, because tracks like Just Smoke and Monster come back to back and definitely feel like a force to be reckoned with as well. Just Smoke kind of has an Allman Brothers Band leaning feel towards it, and I'm digging that groove they were going for. I think they kind of nailed it, honestly, and I like the kind of sing-along chorus that's presented to us as well. The final track I'm going to discuss is Tompkins Square Park, which is probably my top favorite on here. It's really close with like Only Love and Ditmas. I know I mentioned loving both of those other tracks, but really there's a lot of good stuff on this record to dig into. Tompkins Square Park though, I'm loving just because of how varied the instrumental here is on this one, and of course Marcus Mumford's vocal performance here really sells it and just knocks it out of the park, honestly. He sounds better here than he does on the rest of the record. He kind of sets the bar high, and it's not that he disappointed me with the rest of the album, it's just that he sounded better than he ever has here on this track, in my opinion at least. You've got the kind of bump ba bump ba kind of sliding throughout the chorus, and I'm loving that they kind of mixed up the instrumental here on this one. The guitar playing got a little bit more complex, and I'm loving hearing the electric guitars all throughout this album. For me, Wilder Mind really surprised me, and I'm digging it. There's not really any songs on here that I would say, you know what, let's just throw those away, those are skippables, because I can enjoy pretty much at least a little something of every single track on the album. I'm really surprised at how much I'm liking Wilder Mind. Now that's not a bad thing by any means, I just go into it with an open mind. That's my final advice for you with this record. I think it's really interesting. There's a lot of great songs on here, and it's my favorite material from them to date. Let me know your thoughts on it in the comment section down below. For me, this album is a 4.5. So if you've heard Wilder Mind, let me know your thoughts on it in the comment section down below, and hit the like button while you're down there. Maybe subscribe to the channel while you're at it, because friends don't let friends go unsubscribed. Thanks for watching. If there's any other albums you'd like to see me cover, then let me know about them in the comments section down below, and don't forget to find me on Twitter, Facebook, all that good stuff linked in the description down below, along with more information about this album. Thanks for watching, and I will see you very soon right here on ARTV.